Hello, my name is Warren Peach. I'm the Director of Operations for the Texas Flying Legends Museum, and I'd like to welcome you here today. Appreciate your visit. This is the P40K we call the Aleutian Tiger. It's painted up in the colors of the Aleutian Tiger Squadron that was commanded by Claire Chennault's son, Lieutenant Colonel John Chennault. Claire Chennault was the commander of the famous AVG, the Flying Tigers in China, which was a group of volunteers who went to China with 99 P40s before the United States entered World War II and helped the Chinese defend against the Japanese forces. This aircraft, again, with the tiger nose art on it, is a pretty special looking airplane. There's been a lot of paintings of it and photography over the years because of its look. Being the son of Claire Chennault, Lieutenant Colonel Chennault incorporated the teeth into the head of this tiger that's painted on the side of the airplane. This particular P40K was actually an airplane that was on the Lend-Lease program and went to Russia as a new airplane in 1942. It was lost in an engagement against 4 Luftwaffe airplanes when it and its sister ship P40 were disoriented and ran out of fuel and landed in a bog by Murmansk, Russia. It was recovered in 1996 and restored over the next decade to become a Grand Champion Warbird winner at Oshkosh in 2006. The P40 had 6 50 caliber machine guns in it, and the Browning 50 caliber was an extremely popular weapon for aircraft. It was very reliable, quick firing, heavy hitting, and air cooled, so they could bolt them into just about any position in these airplanes, and that's why you see it in so many of the airplanes that you'll see here today. The P40, although not as fast as the Mustang and not the glamour gal of some of the Corsair and everything else, was one of the most produced airplanes and the longest produced airplanes in World War II. It started out at the beginning of the war and flew in every theater of World War II and was still being produced at the end of World War II by Curtiss Corporation. It has a Allison V12 engine, which is a US designed and built engine of 1,710 cubic inch, and it would put out about 1,150 horse in this configuration. The engines were continually modified. The downside of the Allison was that it did not have two-stage, two-speed supercharger as the Merlin did. It had a single-stage, single-speed supercharger, which didn't allow it to have the altitude capability of the Mustang. Its service ceiling was actually in the high 20s, like I think about 27,000 feet. And it had a top speed of around 370 miles an hour. The P40 is an extremely nice flying airplane and very well built, strong. It was one of the first airplanes to go up against the Japanese Zero, and it didn't fare well at first because it didn't have the turning ability. However, once Chennault figured out how to fight the Zero, he instructed his pilots to dive through the formations, shoot them down on the way through, go back up and take another shot at them. And that technique worked very well against the Zero with the Flying Tigers. The other thing about the P40 was it was much more durable in battle than the Zero, so it could take a few hits. Some of the famous stories, Don Lopez was one of the Flying Tigers, and his first kill against the Zero was a midair. They were going nose to nose, shooting at each other, and as he told the story to me, he didn't know what was going to happen, but he didn't vary a bit, and the Zero flinched at the last minute, and it took 3 feet of his wingtip off, and including the pitot tube, and took the wing off the Zero. So the Zero was destroyed and the pilot killed, and he went on to help another one of his squadron mates shoot down another airplane, even though he was missing 3 feet of his wingtip, came back and landed. They called him Lopez the Destroyer after that. But it was a testament to the strength and durability of the airplane. One of the things we do at the Texas Flying Legends Museum with this airplane, with the P40, is we use it in a demonstration at air shows to dogfight with the Zero because they were enemies of each other. They were each other's nemesis during World War II. And we demonstrate how the P40 could outdive the Zero and run away from him in speed, but how the Zero could outturn it in a dogfight. And one of the demonstrations that you'll see in our show is the P40 coming in chasing the Zero, and the Zero does a loop and ends up back on the P40's tail. And it's kind of a fun thing to do, and it's again a really good demonstration of the differences of the two airplanes. They each have their strong points, but they're very different from each other.